a theme, touchstone to recognize a standard by which we're recognized. Okay, we know who we are. There's a standard. We talk about the standard all the time. It's not just the way we perform on Sunday, it's how we go about our life on and off the field. We got to take advantage of every opportunity. Seize everything, man. Carpe omnia.
It's week number 6 of this National Football League season, and welcome to another edition of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy inside the Globe Life studio here at the Star in Frisco. Bill Jones along with Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. We've got Monday Night Football this week as the Cowboys take on the Los Angeles Chargers. Coach, Chargers coming off a bye week, a 2-2 start to this season. Lost their first 2, have won their last 2. What do you see when you look at these Chargers?
Well, I think just like anything, you always start with the personnel. Extremely talented and a lot of experience. You know, they definitely have been playing together for quite some time. So we played them 2 years ago. We had a chance to practice against them last year, so we feel like we have a pretty good beat on their personnel as far as good video for our players to be engaged with. But you know, both systems, offense and defense, are challenging, and you know they're coming off of a bye week. They're healthy, and you know, that's all part of what, you know, our outlook on how this game's going to be played. All
right. Well, you've got an extra day this week and coming off that game in San Francisco the other night. What was the point of emphasis with the team as they got back to work this week?
Well, we took Wednesday as the bonus day for the Chargers, but we really probably, you know, split it 70% San Francisco, 30% Chargers. We felt it was important to go back and make sure we had a clear understanding of, you know, everything we're asking everyone to do, and you know, make sure the direction's clear because, you know, obviously that was an experience that we definitely need to learn from.
And this team has had a history of bouncing back after a game like that. What's the key to bouncing back?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, you know, one, you control the response, so respond accordingly. But 2, get back to your process. I mean, this is a long year. I mean, this is week 6. This is our 6th game. Everybody should be feeling like it is week 6. You know, because when you play 6, 7, 8 games in a row, you know, your guys are a bit beat up. I think we're doing a good job managing that, but also the continuity and consistency, that level should start to rise. So that's our approach, and that's what we're going to take into this contest. And you know, like again, we feel good about our plan, and you got to have a full week of work. You know, we're not changing a bunch of things because of what happened on Sunday.
The interesting dynamics this week with Kellen Moore now, the offensive coordinator of the Chargers, and Kellen Moore's gone up against a Dan Quinn defense in practice all the time. From a scouting standpoint, is it different than any other weeks because you know a little bit more about the offensive coordinator for the other team?
You know, I can't speak on other coaches, but I think just like anything, I've always started with the players because, you know, playbook schemes and they're important, but I think, you know, clearly I think they're 1B of the conversation. So I think schematically, both Kellen and Dan probably very, very strong understanding of one another and on how they like to play and like to compete concepts. But at the end of the day, this is going to be about the matchups and the players, and make sure that we're being aggressive in everything that we do.
And when you look at what the Chargers have on offense, Justin Herbert at quarterback and Keenan Allen at receiver. Now they lost Mike Williams, but looks like they're getting Austin Eckler back this week. There are some weapons on that offense.
No doubt. I mean, their passing games, you know, like a basketball team. I mean, just the big targets, and obviously Justin can hit any quadrant of the field. You know, as far as throwing the football, very athletic. I think he's more. You know, I know in 21, I was extremely impressed with his ability to move. Sometimes you don't really realize that till you see players, particularly quarterbacks, in person. And Eckler's a dynamic player. I mean, he's very instinctive, very productive, and obviously that's probably their biggest return on offense.
And 107 catches out of the backfield last year. All right, we're just getting started here on the Mike McCarthy Show. Up next, it's David Moore, the Dallas Morning News.
The Mike McCarthy Show, presented by Reliant, is brought to you by Ford. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. And by Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. Bill Jones joined by David Moore of the Dallas Morning News, sportsdaydfw.com. Cowboys trying to bounce back after the loss against San Francisco. And David, they have done a good job bouncing back from losses the last couple of years, haven't they?
Yeah, I believe their record, something for them to fall back on, and it shows the culture they've developed and how resilient they are. I believe they're 9-1 over the last couple of seasons under Mike McCarthy, and these back-to-back 12-5 seasons. But I would also argue that this is the most challenging bounce-back game they will have in this stretch, because given the importance they placed and openly discussed how much it meant to them to beat San Francisco, and how, while a victory would only be one game in the standings, the psychological and symbolic benefits would go beyond that one game. You can't say that and then suffer the kind of loss they did and say it doesn't work the other way. So I think this is going to be the most challenging response or bounce back game that this team has had over the last 3 seasons.
It's also challenging in another regard because of the loss of middle linebacker Leighton Vander Esch as well. And so now there's going to be speculation this week. Okay, what do they do to offset that loss, and where does Micah Parsons fit into that equation?
Yeah, and it's not just speculation. The coaching staff has spent a lot of time discussing that this week, and how do you proceed? And we won't know the answer until the Monday night game. But if you're talking about just purely the linebacker position, that is probably the one position on the defensive side of the ball with the least amount of depth. Micah Parsons is still your best linebacker, even though he's one of the premier pass rushers in the league. So you can argue, well, it makes more sense right now as you're working through the loss of Leighton Vander Esch to use Micah Parsons more in that linebacker role. Will just increase the snaps for Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler, and Sam Williams, who have all been playing really well. That's more of a strength in linebacker depth right now. But the other side of that is you go back to Micah Parsons' rookie season, and when he was first deployed in this role was against the Chargers in the second game, and they figured, Justin Herbert is going to be one of the best quarterbacks we face. We've got to get pressure on him. We can't let him sit back there and pick our defense apart. So you can make very strong arguments either way, but this conversation won't just stop with the Chargers game. With the bye game coming up, they have to figure how they're going to work through the absence of Leighton Vander Esch, who is a very important part of their defense.
I've got some inspiration for the Cowboys.
Yes.
Look over there across the street in Arlington at those Texas Rangers. And what happened last month? They went up against their rivals, the Houston Astros, and they got swept 39-10 in a 3-game series. And look where they are now. They're in the American League Championship Series. The Cowboys, the Niners could be what the Astros were to the Rangers.
The Rangers are, and again, this is Mike McCarthy talks every year about how the personality each team takes on is different. And what we've seen earlier this year, this team has been a little more inconsistent than what we've seen of the past 2 Cowboys teams. But in some ways, the ceiling appears to be higher. So where's that going to fall, and how do they respond? We'll get a pretty clear indication, I think, Monday night.
Well, and it's a long road ahead in the NFL. David Moore, we appreciate it. And up next here on the Mike McCarthy Show, a very special guest. It's Marquise Bell.
This segment is brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys.
First, I want to say, man, it was terrible losing Leighton the way we did. Great player, great leader on the field. And hopefully, we can keep up the standard in the linebacker room without him being there. But it's a great opportunity for, all of us to go out there and just, put our play style on film. We got a sour taste in our mouth from last week, so, we just trying to go out there and put our best foot forward. We back at the bottom of the mountain trying to reach the peak. My main focus has just been to focus, focus on the little things, the details, trying to be a better professional, learning everything I can from the older guys and, both position groups, the safeties and the linebackers. So, just trying to overall be a better player, be a better student to the game. it's amazing. You know, just have a group of older guys that want to see you do good, want to see you win, but also gonna get on you when you're not upholding the standard that they've set for the team. So it's just, you know, when you come to work every day, you know you're gonna get a group of guys that love you. We're not even worried about showing everyone else. We're worried about showing that to ourselves, proving it to ourselves that we are the team that we say we are, and we know we're that team. So, you know, we just gotta go out there and put that on display so everybody else knows it as well.
Marquise Bell and the rest of the Dallas defense will be up against what on Monday night? Will McClay is here to explain. We're going to get the telestrator out, and we are going to take a look at some of the primary players on this Chargers offense, including one Keenan Allen, who against this Minnesota team had 18 catches and 20 targets in that game.
Yeah, he was very quarterback friendly. We'll talk about him and the quarterback and the synergy. All right, you're going to look at him here. He's going to go in motion. All right, they're going to find out what the defense is. It's going to be a cover 2 type defense. And they're going to run the route concept, but to know where the hole is and to trust your quarterback. So we'll look at it here. All right, it's cover 2. They occupy the corner, give just enough space, and then the throw, and then the run after the catch. That's a great battery that they've got going on right here.
All right, first game of the year against the Dolphins. It was a shootout, 36-34. Here's what Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen.
All right, here you go. You see the defense here has got 3 guys over 2 guys. So they're going to run some sort of combination. I don't know what this signal is, but it's saying I'm throwing you the ball. All right, he gives him a signal, and what's going to happen is the outside receiver is going to drive, and he's going to take the safety. Then the patience of Keenan on the route here, now he takes off on the linebacker, knew that's where he was going to go, and a great throw by the quarterback.
Now, Justin Herbert, 6'6", 235 pounds, but he can run too.
Yes, and here you go. The Raiders give them 4 guys down, nobody in the middle of the field. You look at it here. He's going to get the snap. He's surveying it. All right, and he leads the team with 3 rushing touchdowns. Leave him that alley. He's a good enough athlete. You look at that speed there, all right, and a rushing touchdown.
All right, there's an idea of what you can find for the Chargers on offense. How about on defense? Couple of edge guys, Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack has been to about 7 Pro Bowls.
We'll talk about Khalil Mack. You know, you hear about the sacks. He's got 89 in his 10-year career, averaging 80 a year. That's a Hall of Fame type number, but he's also got to play the run. You look at him here. They want to try and run the zone to the perimeter. He beats the guy. They had it blocked well, but an individual play gives them a great stop there.
Last game that the Chargers played against the Raiders, Khalil Mack only had 6 sacks in that game.
Yeah, and here's a big reason why, the different ways they use him. Look, there's going to be 7 offensive guys for 7 defensive guys. They think they got everybody protected. They're going to drop 3 out. The Chargers are going to drop 3 out, so the back's going to think he's going to be able to get out because he's scanning over here. So now watch this. They're going to drop the guys out. The patience of Mack, the back's gone now, and then the close on the quarterback.
All right, and then on the back end, another first-round draft pick back there in Derwin James.
You hear about Derwin James and his hitting and his blitzing, but what he's brought to this game, raised his game, is by covering tight ends, covering receivers. Here he is, red zone, got the tight end. Tua thinks he's going to go to him, quick out, but he uses his length and his quickness. Pass break up. There we go.
All right, that's what you can expect from the Chargers on offense and defense. Our thanks to Will McClay, and the coach will rejoin us here on the Mike McCarthy Show in just a moment.
This segment was brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort, the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by Blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
The Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy, continues now as the coach rejoins us. Cowboys and Chargers, Monday Night Football this week. Brandon Staley's Chargers coach in his history. He's worked with Vic Fangio in the past. When you see a defense that like what the Chargers have, what do you see?
You know, I definitely see his origins. You know, starting with Vic and having a chance to compete against him and Vic when they were in Chicago a number of times. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is that I see from this year to last year of 21 is that the fact that now it's year 3 of his program. I think they have a very high understanding of how they want to play. I think they're very sound and efficient in all their schemes. But it's like anything with the 3-4 defense. It starts with your rushers. And your speed to power. Set the edges, everything that comes out of it, and the 3 inside guys are really good read run players. And they got the instinctive inside linebackers. So everything they do stems off to 3-4, but he has four. You know, he gets to the 4-3 alignments. You know, from that, and also, you know, utilizing, you know, the linebackers a little differently. So it's a scheme that'll challenge you, you know, from a personnel standpoint. But he does have the ability to get in and out of, you know, 4-3 schemes and a 3-4 personnel, and vice versa. So just a little more work there.
Yeah, well, you look at their edge rushers, they are experienced and they're very good. And through the years, they've got skins on the wall, Pro Bowls. Joey Bosa coming off an injury, had the extra week. But in the meantime, Khalil Mack had 6 sacks in his last game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the game against the Raiders, he just totally took over the game. So, but I think like anything, you have to be very impressed with their pass rush. I mean, that's been a strength. That was a strength watching those guys play last year too. So, I mean, that's something that we're very cognizant of, and we have to challenge it and make sure we're productive in the protection, from a protection unit standpoint.
When you look at where your offense is now, you got all 5 of your starters back playing for the first time last week. What are you seeing on offense coming out of that?
Well, the biggest thing we need is just continue to, you know, the practice time, play together, get the combinations, blocks tight, make sure our protection, you know, our sets are on board. I mean, this is a team that's extremely effective with their stunts in games. I mean, you look at a lot of their production in sacks. You know, they're coming off of their 2-man and 3-man stunts. So, you know, once again, we just got to keep working.
A tough loss coming out of last week with Leighton Vander Esch going down with the injury, and he's going to be out for a while here. But how do you offset that loss? He's playing so well for you and a real leader in the middle of your defense.
Well, it's, you know, young players get a chance to step up. So, and then not only at the linebacker position, and not only from a communication standpoint as far as who's calling now, because Leighton was the green dot, but it's also how this will affect probably special teams as much as anything too, because, you know, the guys that'll have the opportunities, you know, we have to balance that out between their special team work.
All right, we wrap up the Mike McCarthy Show, and we come back in just a moment.
Guys not panicking, not trying to do too much, not, you know, going haywire, things like that. Guys just locking in, focusing up, you know, blocking out the distractions, and just, you know, getting ready for this week.
This segment was brought to you by blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
Final couple minutes here of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy, as we wrap up this show. Unsung stars who I come up with every week, and we just talked about him a couple of weeks ago, but I got to talk about him here today because C.J. Goodwin, who you lost to an injury, John Fossil can't say enough good things about him. But when you look at him in that game last Sunday night against San Francisco, he gets hurt making a tackle on the first punt of the game. Then you look later in the game, and he's still in there. His arm is hanging on another punt coverage. I mean, it really says a lot about the character of C.J. Goodwin and what he means to you.
I mean, C.J. Goodwin is special. I think when you look at players that impact your football team, you know, you're fortunate when you got a player that's a 360-degree impact player. I mean, he not only affects it on special teams, but the practices, you know, the locker room, you know, the type of man he is, the respect that he commands in the whole football operation is unique. So, yeah, definitely that'll be a loss for us.
All right. Well, good luck on Monday night against those Chargers. And we appreciate all of you joining us here for the Mike McCarthy Show, and we will see you again next week. Cowboys have a bye next week. We will be here from the Star in Frisco.
Well, I'd sign if you'd do one more thing. And they said, what's that? I said, I want a 2-horse inline trailer.
You want to explain to them what an inline trailer is?
Well, inline trailer is where one horse is behind the other one. Most people know what an inline is.
Okay.
He does it.
What was his reaction?
What the heck is that? You know, I said, it's a horse trailer. He said, well, what does it cost? I said, well, probably $3,800. And so he went to Tex, and he said he wants a stupid horse trailer. I didn't have one. I had a brand new Pontiac and nothing to pull behind it.
Right.
So they give me a horse trailer, and I still got it out there at the house.
The Mike McCarthy Show, presented by Reliant, was brought to you by blockchain.com. Trusted by millions, trusted by America's team. Ford. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. And by Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys.